Youngbird sickness and youngbird losses. The answer to the question often asked what changed. It didn't used to be like this. Youngbird sickness. For thousands of years pigeons survived and thrived in its natural environment. It was only relatively recently that humans exploited its ability to navigate home. It coexisted with viruses, bacteria, and funguses which all live on and inside the pigeon, performing for the pigeon vital functions, i.e. breaking down its food in the gut, extracting the vitamins, minerals, trace elements and nutrients to support its host. It also provides defenses to protect the pigeon from invaders, bad bacteria, viruses and funguses, to keep the pigeon healthy in the form of an immune system. This natural immune system is weakened by physical injury, chemical, any substance that is not recognized to the pigeon, or emotional, taking it from its environment into a different one, which is known as stress. Pigeons could cope with the stresses of racing up until very recently, when around the late 1970s, early 80s, when the modern global sharing of information and products boomed across the world. For the pigeon world, this brought in an influx of medicines, supplement products and new practices. These were readily adopted by fanciers, offering the dream of having healthy winning pigeons. But as we established earlier, any chemical assimilated into the host, in our case, the pigeon, upsets the gut flora, thus reducing the immune system, especially on young vulnerable pigeons, leaving them open to disease. This is where we should look at ourselves, because we are the ones that facilitate this situation, because we are the ones that administrate the foreign bodies into our birds directly by mouth, or the skin, or through the medium of the food or water. Youngbird losses. The brain receives signals from the magnetic receptors in the bird's beak along the trigeminal nerve and is processed in the hippocampus, the area responsible for spatial awareness and memory. It has been proven that if the trigeminal nerve is cut and the signals are disrupted, the bird's ability to orientate is weakened. My hypothesis is that from a weakening of the immune system caused by stress to the racing pigeon by either one or all of the stress factors, physical, chemical or emotional stress induced by the fancier's practices, activates the dormant herpes virus, COHV1, that resides in the trigeminal nerve junction, ganglia, between the receptors and the brain, causing inflammation and weakening the signals, thus restricting the young pigeon's ability to orientate home. I also propose that the reason some young pigeons do return is that the herpes virus, COHV1, infection is at different stages of its infection at its time of liberation, thus groups of young pigeons have varying degrees of their homing abilities intact. Fat eye, to give it its real name herpes eye, is only an outward sign of what is happening inside your pigeon with the immune system. This then would account for why some young pigeons return home and some are lost. So in summary, you must have noticed the elephant in the room, the word young bird. Yes, young bird sickness, young bird losses. We are not letting them mature naturally to become strong. I don't mean strong in body and looks, I mean in their immune system, which leaves them vulnerable to viruses, bacterial and fungal infections. Young birds are the fancier's investment for their future old bird racing. Have a little patience and nurture them, educate, yes, but leave the serious racing to the old birds that are more resilient to the stress. So now you know the answer. It's time for you to take a long, hard look in the mirror at your own practices, not just for yourself, but for the future of the sport, because we are getting to the extremes with young birds. A pigeon without a homing instinct is just another bird. Yours in sport, Dave Bunker Brierly.